Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Lance Stroll's Fan Club. Today, we are discussing the Hungarian Grand Prix preview, which is coming up this weekend. We are currently Wednesday, we are deep into race week. And of course, Lance Stroll's Fan Club is the only show on YouTube that discusses everything from the greatest overtakes to the fastest pit stops. I'm joined by two guests which again are my least favourite combo to work with. It is Dokra and it is Pigeon.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, definitely your worst combo, man.
Yeah, I regret making this decision, but here we are. We've made it. We're on
You
to
love
it.
it or you know it.
You guys. So, as I said, we're in Hungarian Grand Prix race week. We've just come off the back of a rather poor Belgian Grand Prix where I'm still trying to wake up from it. I'm sure these guys are as well. I'm just going to get straight into it. Pigeon, we're on the back of the Belgian Grand Prix. It was poor. It was really all over the place. The FIA didn't know what to do when the rain came and they waited too long. We just had a boring race. The Hungarian Grand Prix is due rain on Sunday. Is it going to be different from Spa? Are we going to get more racing? And what can the FIA learn from what happened in Spa?
Well, I think it was more of an overreaction from Silverstone. We had the pretty intense race in Silverstone, and then they had a couple of complaints from drivers who said, "Well, if it does come raining with this amount of spray and stuff like that, it's dangerous." And then the race director said, "Well, I'm going to be a little more cautious." And then they went to Spa, of course, which is dangerous as they know, and they just chose the very safe option, which was horrendous for fans to watch on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, I hope they'll go a little bit more on the adventurous side this time around. If it does rain, we want to see action in the rain. It's always more exciting than a dry race, anyways, with current cars. Yeah, I really hope that they change something up, because if we have to go sit through another Spa 2025, it's not going to be fun at all. We were literally in a call during the race, and we were fuming at our screens. It was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that at one point they were showing battles for P14 and P15 instead of the championship, like the leadership battle, because it was already over. I think it was over by like as soon as Piastri overtook Norris in the first lap itself, and then it was just. I don't think they even had anything to broadcast. It was just the cars going at the same speeds. The only thing that was very exciting, but about that was not very exciting, just exciting about the race was Hamilton tearing through the field, overtake after overtake, and it was great to see him in form. Getting to what P18 to P7, I think, yeah, and that's probably the most interesting part of the race. But happy for Piastri nevertheless.
Yeah, he did drive a good race. He made that move on the opening lap under tricky conditions anyway. They had literally had no practice in the wet at all weekend. All of a sudden, they plunged into it, and he's got a good run up by Rouge and made the move. So, congratulations to him. He done well. Lewis, as well, as you said, Hamilton, brilliant driving through the field. Shows why he's a 7-time world champion, even in a car that he's struggling to get to grips with. But what we want to see is racing up and down the field, and especially for the lead. Now, the thing that could have made a big difference at Spa is if they had have raced 15, 30 minutes earlier on, which they very easily could have. The problem with Spa is, I think people forget the tragic incidents that have happened recently with the two drivers that lost their lives,
Yeah.
and the FIA are now just too cautious instead of trying to just take down their cautiousness a little bit and let them race. I think Hungary's different from that. It's a track that you can race at in the rain. It's a track that's got less undulations, adulations, less hilly areas, so the water won't collect so much, and it's not as notoriously dangerous as what Belgium is. So I think, could the FIA? My question to you is: could the FIA learn from their cautiousness in Belgium, reduce it down for a track that isn't as dangerous, and improve the racing that we get?
I think all of this only comes into play when we consider that would it actually rain in Budapest, because it hasn't been like wet track in the previous years as such. It's very rare for it to rain there during race times. But if it does, I don't think it poses as much of a threat as Spa does, because as we saw, as you said, Ken, that we had some really unfortunate accidents at Spa. I think Delano was the latest. We had Antoine Hubert, and I feel like these were all, I think, coming out of Eau Rouge, sorry. And
Yeah.
yeah, just I think that part of Spa is just notoriously dangerous because it's like a very different elevation. But for Hungaroring, it might just be not as dangerous, and I feel like FIA can simply just put them to race, not no issues.
Yeah, I think we saw it even this weekend just gone at Belgium in F2. Richard Verschoor, I believe it was, going up Eau Rouge, spun and came back into the middle of the track. God knows how he didn't get hit by the car collected, but it could have been so much worse. And I think it shows that there does need to be a level of caution at Belgium, but there also needs to be a level of these are F1 drivers that are the best in the world. When it's stopped raining and the track is at a dry enough level, let them go. There will be spray, but this is why we have wet tyres. They are able to handle the rain and the wet weather and the spray that they have to deal with. That's why they are paid so much to race as F1 drivers. So in that instance, let them race earlier. But we can see in instances like Richard Verschoor at the weekend why they are so cautious. And I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's why they are as cautious as they are.
I mean, I think that's where a big part of the frustration comes from. They had much worse conditions than F1 had. They decided to let the Formula 3 race start. They didn't finish or even have an actual race, but they did get it started. And then F2, they completed the race with terrible conditions. And they had a couple of spins, yes, but no one got hurt in any way. I must say I did have my tongue on my shoes when for sure had that spin of the Rouge, but yeah, it was a scary moment. But still, they did the race, no one got hurt, and they completed what, in my opinion, was an amazing race. And then F1 comes, who are more experienced, they get paid more, and they just say let's wait until the track is completely dry and see what happens then. And I think that's just a disservice to the fans, to be honest. And now we go to Hungary. I think the last time we had wet weather there was when Bottas went bowling for a strike in
Torpedo
2021.
Bottas.
Yeah. But then again, racing in the wet, it always brings a level of risk, of uncertainty, and you need skill to drive in the wet. And that's part of the job, And I know that they don't want to risk too much, it's a dangerous sport already. But I think there should be a proper balance there, and I don't think they struck it in Spa, and I hope they do strike it in Hungary, Give the fans what they want, give them a good race.
Yeah, and I think it's a problem with it is that as well we don't realise the FIA and the race directors that are dealing with that. If there was a crash up Eau Rouge on the first few laps after a restart or a standing start and somebody got seriously injured or worse, touch wood, they are responsible for that. And I think it's a much more difficult job than what we realise. So to give them leeway on that, we have to, but we also have to ask, can you do more to give us a level of racing that as fans we want to see? You could go under the safety car, do 3 laps, 4 laps, and then have a standing start in a 40-lap race. And you start off in quite wet conditions, but at least they've got a feel for the track. They know where the wet areas are. 40-lap race, standing start, and the fans have what they want. And I think that's what we missed out on, and that's what we're asking for, is a balance on safety and watchable racing.
I think with Hungary, like as long as they have a certain level of visibility, it shouldn't be an issue to start the race. Also, before I proceed further, Pigeon, what was that expression you used? tongue on my shoe.
I mean, I don't know what that was, but you know,
Yeah, I've never heard
Just
that one
make-
before. That's interesting.
I made that up. I definitely burned the page on that one. Sorry.
But
We'll have to
yeah,
have an
so
edit flash on what it was meant to be.
it was. I think he meant to say something like I was on the edge of my seat, but
Yeah,
He's a
comparable
tongue
to
on
that. Yeah.
Edge of my seat, tongue on my shoe, it's the same thing.
same thing.
English is not my main language, okay?
Anyway, proceeding further, so yeah, as I said, as long as you have a certain level of visibility, like if the car in front isn't directly invisible, as we saw in like first stages of Spa's rain, like the spray was so bad that you couldn't even see the car behind you or the car in front of you, which just poses a threat to the driver and the car, no matter what series it is, F3, F2, F1. But I don't think that's big of an issue in Hungary because it's not a very fast track. It's a very twisty track. So the drivers would be applying the brakes a lot by default. And yeah, I don't think FIA should, delay the race as much as they did in Spa so that we at least get some wet action because I don't think we've seen the wets used at all this year. We've just been hovering around enters and then just back to slicks. There has been no use of wets, and I feel like we should be seeing them, or we should be seeing them more. But it's just a hope, and again, Hungary is still, you know, just not a prepared track, in my opinion.
I mean, I think the current problem with the cars that we have is when it does get, to the stage where wets are necessary, the spray is so bad anyways from the cars, from the downforce from the floor, that you
Yeah.
just cannot run, even if you had wets. It's all about visibility. And the wets are made for more grip in wetter conditions. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's at a point where it slicks, it rains, it enters, it gets too heavy, it red flags. You don't have another pit stop to wets, and then you race around in wets because, as you said, Pigeon, it's just too much spray, too less visibility, and at that point, you physically can't race in it. So, yeah, you can see why it is the way it is, but then it's on the FIA to do something to combat that, and it's on the FIA at the tracks to give us some form of racing, put us racing sooner when it's still wet, so we have some form of a wet to dry race and a bit more interesting racing.
Yeah.
But to touch on sort of similar to the wet weather talk and how racing is, the rookies this season. We've got five of them on the grid, depending on how you look at things. Antonelli has struggled recently with a bit of a crisis of confidence in the Mercedes. He had a rather emotional interview in Belgium after a qualifying session where he was eliminated in Q1. He has struggled. You've got Duhan, who had 5 races. Colapinto's back in. Lawson. Behrman's in there as well. So you've got a lot of different rookies, a lot of different teams that are racing in different parts of the field. I'm going to start with Antonelli. I'm going to come to you, Dogra, first. Is he struggling for confidence? Is there too much pressure on such a young pair of shoulders for the Mercedes car? What is it with him that's going wrong at the moment, and how can he improve that up to the rest of the season?
I mean, as I said, there's way too many rookies on the track this year. We have Behrman, Hadjar, Bortoleto and Hadjar were F2 champions last year, were like contending F2 champions last year.
Yeah,
But
1 and 2.
Bortoleto took the win. We have two-time world champion Fernando Alonso as a rookie. Then,
And with all his experience, Lance Stroll alongside him.
but yeah, I feel like it's not just the fact that Antonelli has been thrown into the wide end of being in a top tier team, which is like Mercedes, with all their accolades in the past. It's also the fact that he's paired up with a very good driver for George Russell, and the fact that he has to prove himself within the rookies so that I mean, I think there's like multiple kinds of pressure that's mounting up on him. You know, being a replacement for someone as massive as Lewis Hamilton in a team as big as Mercedes, in a season where he has five more people like him, sorry, six more people like him, that he has to prove that I'm good enough. And he's, I think, the youngest one of them all. Yeah, he is the youngest one of them all.
Yeah,
He's the only one who's 18. I think Hadjar and Bortoleto are both 20 above, 2021, I think. And yeah, I feel for the guy, man. Like, it's like, how should I put it? You learn to ride a bicycle and you're immediately thrown into a four wheeler and you're like, just drive. That's a level of difference that he's suddenly facing. And he started off well. Kudos to Antonelli. He started off amazing. He got that sprint pole in his very first season as well. First, I think the slump came after Miami, but it's not just a slump for Antonelli himself. It's a slump for entire Mercedes. I just think he's taking the brunt of it, and he's taking it massively because again he's young, he's a rookie, he doesn't know what to do, and good on Hamilton on telling him that it's okay to be how you are right now. It's because you have a lot of years ahead of you. You have a wonderful future. You're doing very well. Keep it up and you'll be fine. Don't think too much. Just drive your best and you'll be fine. I think Anthony did. He's doing a great job. He's just thinking too much at this point.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. He's definitely shown that he has what it takes. Early on in the season, he did very well in difficult conditions in Australia. You know, I think that the real issue this year is confidence. The field is so competitive this year. Most of the Q1s have only like a second of margin. And that's compared to the McLaren, who are definitely the favorites this year. If you're 3/10 of your teammate, you can basically say goodbye to any chance of making it out of Q1. And as you said, after Miami, I think we had Imola, where he had a DNF due to an engine. Monaco, where the Mercedes did not go well at all. I think he had another couple of quite unfortunate DNFs. I think it just gets in your head. And after every single bad result, you have to go in front of like 60 cameras to explain to reporters who are not in the car why you failed to score points, a podium or whatever. And yeah, that messes with your head. I do think that Antonelli will get there. He's shown that he's quick. He's shown that he's mature enough to stay close to Russell. And, you know, we still have, what's it now, 11 races to go in the season?
Yeah.
A couple of bad ones, but difficult ones. But also a lot of fun ones, you know. And I can't wait to see what Antonelli can do this year. You know?
Yeah, no, I think it's been tough on him. Obviously, like we said, he's 18 years old. He was 17 when he started in Mercedes. He's replacing a 7-time world champion. You know, you've covered all the bases there. He's got his one bad session and he's straight in front of all of the press and the pundits who are saying, why didn't you get into Q2? Why didn't you score points? Why didn't you do this? And you'll remember he's 18 years old. He's just come into a Mercedes team where there's so much pressure on him to perform from the off. Give him time. Let him settle into a seat and he'll be fine. Because then there's also all of the other rookies who, while they have good races, Hadjar and Behrman, who are doing very well, there's also times where Behrman's qualifying last and his teammates getting into Q2 or even Q3. Hadjar's getting out in Q1 and Lawson's getting into Q3. Or in the first couple of races, Tsunoda was outperforming him. So I'd ask, where's the kind of equal treatment between Antonelli and the other drivers? Okay, they might not be expected to get top 3, top 5, but at least a Q3 appearance every once in a while rather than a last place and 5/10 off your teammate. Which then brings me on to the question of the rookies on the grid, taking away the 2 Alpine drivers because they've had their 5 races each, so someone who's coming in soon. Who has had the better season so far?
I mean, you have. Antonelli is in the top four teams, which have been a league of their own for the past, well, let's say 10 years. Also, the famous F1 and a half, where they only count the bottom six teams. I think it is a different league. There's different expectations of you when you're driving for Mercedes or Red Bull or McLaren. Yeah, I don't really think you can put them head to head. But from the rookies, I think Hadjar has had the best season this year. He's outperforming Lawson. He was very close to Tsunoda, who has a lot of experience in that car. Berman has shown really good races, but he's also made quite a few big mistakes. The latest one in Silverstone, where he crashes into the pit lane, getting 10 place penalty after qualifying a very impressive P8. So we've seen Berman being really good, but then ruin it by doing silly small mistakes that end up having a very big effect.
Sometimes it may be good.
Yeah, sometimes it may be bad. So, and then, Lawson has had the terrible stint in Red Bull where he was kicked out after 2 races, and he's finding his pace. He scored points regularly now. Yeah. It's difficult to judge everyone, of course, but I think from all the rookies, Hadjar is doing a pretty good job. Berman shows good pace, but mistakes. And then you have Bortoletto, who is doing very well against one of the most experienced drivers on the grid.
Yeah. I'd argue, actually, from what you said, that maybe Lawson is having one of, if not the best season. To go from Red Bull 2 races and a sprint race, be dropped like he was, finishing or qualifying last in 2 races, I think in the bottom 5 in one of them as well. He didn't do well in any of the 3, didn't score points in any of the 3. To then come back to racing bulls where your confidence could be on the floor and you could be Q1 and no points for every race, and to actually turn it around and get into the points, score points regularly, Q3 appearances regularly, outperform your teammate as well, who is having an incredible season of his own, and outperform the other guy who's gone into the Red Bull second seat. But then again, that's a different story with the Red Bull second driver. I'd argue maybe he is having one of the better seasons out of the rookies, if not the best.
I think it also depends on if you look at the trajectory of their season currently, because Lawson's started on a high, went to a low, but he's climbing back up. So you can say that it's a progressive season for him. Hadjar started on a medium and he's been climbing and climbing. I think he's the only driver that hasn't missed out on a Q3 appearance till now, besides the top teams.
I know for sure he has made every Q1. Every Q1.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Q2.
made
I don't
into
know
every
Q3
Q1.
for sure, but yeah.
So, yeah, he's been having a scintillating season. Bearman, again, plagued by small mistakes, but I think he'll bounce back up after this year. Bortoletto, scoring points in a Sauber, that's amazing, actually. Then you have Lawson, again, we already discussed. Antonelli started off well, is in a slump right now, but I think he'll bounce back up. But if you look at the progress, the progress of the graph of the season, then Hadjar is the clear answer.
Yeah, I think there's a theme there between the 3 of us. Actually, the racing bulls in general have just been incredible. Both drivers, Tsunoda as well when he was in that car, they have been very, very good. And potentially a testament to Laurent Mekies. We'll see how he does with Red Bull, specifically with that second driver seat. And if he turns Yuki Tsunoda's season around, and his last 7 races for him are point scoring in Q3 and he's closer to Maxwell, we know then that Racing Bulls were as good as they were because there was a man behind that team who was able to do well for them.
Yeah.
So, and we'll go back to Antonelli. Sticking on that, we'll go back to the Verstappen rumours. He was rumoured to be going to Mercedes. We're now on the understanding that isn't happening. due to a clause in his contract now not being able to be triggered. So we're looking at Verstappen staying at Red Bull, Mercedes potentially keeping both of their drivers, George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, going into the 2026 season. What do you make of that?
I feel like it's. I don't think they actually needed to make any changes to their driver lineup anyway. I think Russell is fine where he is. He was very consistent during the first half of the season. We regularly still see him in the top five, scoring much needed points actually for his team. Antonelli started off well, could learn has hit a slump, but he's learning. He'll get there, and I think what Toto was looking for in a young driver like Antonelli, that a potential Max Verstappen. Antonelli is just that, maybe like he's starting off a bit slow, but you have that perfect pairing of a driver that is experienced but not too old, and a driver that is very young, learning and just can take it to the heights. So Mercedes doesn't need any driver changes to their lineup. Then we have Verstappen. I think he's, if we see great results from Lauren Mackey's, then Verstappen doesn't need to change places either. Sure, we might see something like it was more like Verstappen was right here and the second seat was right here. We may see Verstappen fall off a bit so that the second seat climbs up, but I feel like that's a risk that Red Bull is willing to take so that they can at least stay in a good position in the constructors. And if McGee's can pull that off, kudos to him. And I feel like Verstappen is fine where he is because based on his driving skills, he can just pull off move magic, man. He's just that good.
I mean, talking about the constructors, I think they have to beat the Williams to stay in P4, so no real challenge there. I also don't think that there was ever any chance that Verstappen was leaving Red Bull. It was just a case of media blowing it out of proportions. We had Verstappen Toto Wolff in, where was it, Sardinia or something. They supposedly met up.
The planes landing in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, everyone sees it. It goes viral, and you have like 17 different new rumors to talk about for 17 weeks. Yeah, I don't think there was any chance for Verstappen to leave Red Bull. I mean, I was also guilty of thinking that for a little bit, but looking at it, afterwards, you just come to your senses. And as you said, Dobra, the Red Bull, they will make changes, I think, to see if that car can be a little bit put into every window. To actually make it drivable, not just for Verstappen, but for any driver, and see if they can get both of their drivers up there. Because I do think that Tsunoda has something to give. I think he can go for podiums if the occasion arises.
To be fair, I think even Verstappen is struggling with the car. We see him complaining about the steering all the time. Like I've noticed whenever I watch him we watch his onboard, he has to turn the steering like in three different directions to make the car like turn left or right, and it's just a struggle to see him. Not being able to perform on the level he can. We know he can, just because the car doesn't listen to him. So I don't think it's just that car is adaptive to Verstappen. I think Verstappen was adapting to that car, but now that has gone out the window, and even he can't control it.
I mean, to be fair, he was complaining in 2023 as well, and then he was dominating the field. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, Verstappen's notorious for complaining and then doing well. It's like he goes and races, my tyres are shot. 2 laps later, fastest lap by 5/10. So
it's kind of reminiscent of Hamilton in that way.
Yeah, it's always a pinch of salt whenever he says anything about the car or the tyres or whatever. But I do think the rumours might have some truth behind them going forwards into by the end of 2026. But this year it was never going to happen. It's just one of those. It's a fever dream. Everyone wants to see it. It might happen. It's definitely a potential. Toto Wolff has said he wants Verstappen in the Red Bull, so it could happen. But I think 2026 it was never going to happen. As Pigeon said, the 2 planes landing in Sardinia, the pictures of people talking in the paddock and who's going where. It's all silly season rumours. It's not going to happen. And now we can enjoy the rest of our season without talking about Verstappen to Mercedes. We hope. But I've got one more thing written down on my list, and I'm going to hand over to Pigeon for this one, because all I've got written down is 2024 McLaren team orders. It was a Pigeon suggestion. I feel like he's got some strong opinions on this, so we'll hand over to him to get this one going.
I mean, last year we saw total chaos at McLaren when, for some reason, both of their drivers made it into the top two. They were both leading, and then they messed up the pit stops, and suddenly it was a game of no you, no you, no you, and yeah, it was really, I think, unprofessional over the radio, where they had to ask a driver to let the other one by to grant them the victory. Also, it being Oscar's first victory, it kind of just put a damper on the whole thing.
Quite a big gap as well, and Lando was extending his lead.
Yeah, and it just reminded me of, what we saw then, where Norris was like, I'm not going to give up my lead, I want to win this one. To now they're literally in a title fight, and it's, as we said, it's way too nice. They don't want to go wheel to wheel, or not as close as we've seen other drivers go. And after the Belgian Grand Prix, Norris only went, it was better than me today. And it wasn't like, I was, really trying, or it's just, he won, he was better, let's go to the next one. And I really want to see some more fire in there, especially as we head to the end of the season pretty fast.
Yeah, I think with obviously what happened last year, it was such a tricky scenario, and it was weird seeing Lando Norris lead for so long, and then 3 laps from the end, 4 laps from the end, whatever it was, just get to the pit straight and essentially stop the car to let Piastri catch up 5+ seconds to overtake him, which I don't feel like should have happened. McLaren messed up, you deal with it, you go again, but you give Lando the win. I think as races go on, and as the gap remains around what it is now, 16 points down to 7 or 8 points if Lando can win, up to maybe 25 if Piastri wins and Lando's second or third, the gap will remain around this level. And I think towards the end of the season, you'll see the two drivers be more intense and have more fire in the championship fight, especially Lando Norris when he needs the points, Piastri when he needs to defend those points. I think that's when we're going to see fire, and that's when we'll see crashes and a bit of inter-team rivalry and tension there, because they'll both want it a lot more.
I really, really want to see a pissed off Piastri on the radio. That dude is just way too calm for any radio.
He's so horizontal.
Yeah, he's like, he just reminds me of Raikkonen without the screaming part. It's like that actual Iceman, and I really want to see Piastri actually, having no holds barred. It's just, just pure Australian rage pouring out of him, and he's just driving like silently, pissed off his mind, and it's just, I think we saw that in Australia, just a smidge of it, when he did that daring overtake on Hamilton and still managed to get in the points after losing so many positions. I really want to see that Piastri, man. I just want to, bring back that 2016 Nico Rosberg Hamilton rivalry back, and it would be amazing.
I think some emotion from Piastri would be nice. The dude wins a race and on the radio just goes, yeah, cheers, guys.
So basically what we saw Verstappen do last year, screaming over the radio that the car was not working and he had a really terrible strategy.
Yeah,
we want to see Oscar go full angry Aussie.
It won't be him complaining about the car. It'll be like, guys, what are we doing here? What the hell?
Do you remember the incident of Lewis and Seb, or Lewis and Nico in the cool-down room at Kota? I can't remember what year it was, when he chucked the second place hat at him and Nico Rosberg chucked it back. I want that in the cool-down room with Piastri and Norris. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, we don't get that much often anymore. It's all really nice and friendly in the cool-down room these days.
No, I like watching it and feeling the tension through the TV screen.
To be fair, we haven't seen Verstappen or Russell in any cool-down rooms lately, so...
No, well... It's now become a cool-down room podcast, as I think Crofty says whenever it comes on. And for a while in 2022, it was the or 2023, it was the Max Verstappen podcast.
Yeah.
For the longest time, which I found quite funny, but I'm glad it's not anymore because that did get quite boring. But it is what you won't know at home is that I wanted Dan on this podcast. Not these two. I wanted Dan on it with one of them.
Dan only.
However, Dan has been very selfish and has gone away to Madeira, and it's cloudy there, and it's actually sunnier in the UK where he lives. So, unlucky Dan. But I've got a game, and I planned it out, and Dan can't be here. And it is, as you know, the game he is champion of, the top 10. So he's stripped of his title. And we're going to have a new champion today. And hopefully the new champion can be on the next podcast with Dan, and Dan can try and reclaim his title. And the top 10 category today, for both of you, is the top 10 recent Hungarian Grand Prix winners. So I'm looking for the last 10 winners of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And if somebody has won it more than once in the last however many years, that counts as one driver. So I'm looking for the last 10 drivers to have won the Hungarian Grand Prix. And I'm going to start with the person who is closest to me in the world proximity-wise, which is Pigeon, because he is in the Netherlands.
I was hoping to go last, but okay.
And as there can be a 5-5 draw, I've got an 11th man here, just in case.
Okay. Well, easy would be Verstappen.
So you get one guess, and then it goes over to Dogra. So Verstappen, you've got it correct. Verstappen won in 2022 and 2023. Dogra,
the second easy guess is Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton. He has won it in 2020, 2019, 2018, 2016, 2013, 2012, 2009, and 2007. 8-time winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix. So that was
we have to go back to the 1990s for this list.
The furthest back winner is in 2005.
Okay. I'm going to keep it an easy one.
Ocon, indeed, yeah, 2021.
I'm going to keep it an easy one as well. Michael Schumacher.
In the top 10, no. He is not in that top 10 list. So, not necessarily an easy one. So, you have not got a point there, and we go back to Pigeon, who's on a 2-1 lead.
I mean, you could have kept it easy, said Piastri. We literally just talked about it.
Yeah, he won it last year, so that was a really easy given.
God damn it. Can you repeat the years that Hamilton won in?
Hamilton won in 2020, 2019, 18, 16, 13, 12, 2009, and 2007.
I'd say 17 was Valtteri Bottas. Wait, not Valtteri. Fucking yeah.
Is that your guess?
Yeah.
Incorrect.
I hate this game. I'm bad at trivia.
I love this game.
I have a feeling that Alonso won it once, at least once.
Alonso?
Yeah, I'm locking that one in. I'm probably be a fool for this one, but
Alonso did not win it. No.
Damn it.
Sebastian Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel did win it. He won in 2015 and 2017.
Okay. That's this decade is covered now.
So,
how many more is on the list?
You got the top 5 done. You now got the bottom 5, and I have a hint for you if you would like it. I actually have 3 hints.
Raikkonen.
Kimi Raikkonen, 2005 winner.
I
of
don't need
the
no hints.
Hungarian Grand Prix.
Button.
And JB, the 2011 winner.
Wait, I was
So
expecting
the scores now,
2009.
with 3 to go, are Pigeon on 4 and Dogra on 3. And we are back to Pigeon.
Oh, my early 2000s are.
You're looking
Yeah,
at...
I'll have a hint. I'll have a hint.
You'll have a hint. 2 of the remaining 3 drivers are Aussies.
Well, that's too easy. Webber.
Mark Webber is one of them, 2010 winner.
Australian, you said. DC?
DC, no.
DC is not even Australian, is he?
He is not Australian. So you've really wasted a guess there.
I think you'd have to go a little bit more recent there, Dogra. I think Ricciardo might have won it once.
If you get this one, Pigeon, you've won the game because you would have had 6. Ricciardo in 2014 was the winner. So you have
That
got
should have
it.
been my fucking guess.
That's your 6. So, Dogra, can you get the last one for a bit of pride?
Australian, you said.
He's not. This last one isn't Australian.
Can I get
This
another
last
hint
one
then?
won in 2008, and it was for the McLaren F1 too.
2008? Wasn't... Wait, who was with Hamilton? Who was Hamilton's teammate back then? Damn it. I forgot, but it's Hamilton's teammate.
I need an actual name.
It wasn't Alonso. Alonso wasn't at least 2007, so... Yeah, no, I forgot. Sorry. I have zero pride.
We'll move to Pigeon, see if he can get it.
How bad will we be flaming if we don't get this one?
I'm gonna say where this driver is from, and it's just gonna be a free for all, whoever shouts first. So this driver won in 2008, driving from McLaren Mercedes, and he is from Finland.
Hakkinen.
No.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
The only Finnish driver I know is Raikkonen.
So the 2008 winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix, which nobody got, Heikki Kovalainen.
Kovalainen, of course, yeah.
Bit of an obscure one. I was happy that one went in there because no one was really able to get it.
Who was 11th?
You will be kicking yourself. 11th was Michael Schumacher. 2004. So he won it just before Raikkonen did.
Oh, fucking damn it. I knew the code wasn't there.
He was in there. If you would have got it 5-5, you would have had that with Michael Schumacher. So, yeah. But we'll finish it on everyone's favourite prediction game. We'll go Pigeon first, as he is the new top 10 champion. Fastest pit stop. Which team and which driver from that team?
Carlos Sainz Williams.
Wow.
Don't ask me why. I know. I just have a feeling.
Gone for it. And Dogra?
Charles Leclerc, Ferrari.
And he's gone for Ferrari and Leclerc. And I'm going to go with... Do I do it? Do I say his name?
I mean, we are the fan club, so...
Yeah.
It's Lance Stroll's fan club. I'm going to go for Lance Stroll and Aston Martin. It'd be rude not to, and it's obviously going to be wrong. But if it's right, imagine the scenes.
Who was the winner for the last week prediction?
I think Pigeon knows this one.
I didn't do any predictions.
It was the fastest pit stop was.
It was Tsunoda. Yeah, it's another Red Bull.
I don't think anybody made that connection. I think somebody might have said Red Bull, but not Tsunoda.
No, nobody said Red Bull.
Nobody said Red Bull. Never mind. Then.
No, the predictions actually, and if you watched the last episode, it is on the channel, so you can go and watch it. Ash had 7 points, so we done 1 point for correct area, 2 points for exact correct, and no points if you got it completely wrong. Dan got 7, Dan got 3, Ash got 7, and I ended up with 5 because I got a 2-point deduction for simply saying Stroll, which.
Is that one of the rules? If you pick Lance Stroll and it's not him, then you get just -3.
I think if I got him, I would have got -3 as well.
Oh, okay.
I think if it was correct,
Stroll,
it's just pick Stroll and it instantly you just have a punishment just for saying his name.
Yeah.
So we live and learn from our mistakes, and that's where we're at now.
Apparently, you didn't.
Well, no, I've made my mistake. I have now learned from my mistake, and I have made it again because I said his name. So peer pressure, don't bow down to it. That's what I say. And I'm going to end it there because I fear there may be more peer pressure coming my way, and I'm not willing to take it. If you have enjoyed the episode, the podcast of Lance Stroll's Fan Club, please make sure you drop a like below or a dislike if you don't like Lance Stroll, which is probably going to be the majority of people here. Not me. He's me and Lance Stroll best friends.
Yeah.
Make sure you comment below. How many did you get on the top 10 of the Hungarian Grand Prix previous winners? And who do you think is going to be the fastest pit stop at the next race? Also, down below, please comment anything you want us to do in the future episodes, anything you think we can improve on and what you're enjoying. We're just getting started and we want to keep on improving and making our content as best as we can for you. I'm sure from these two, it's goodbye. Go on, do your thing.
Let me take off my pants again.
No. I'm gonna take over.
Let me go burn some peas quickly. Okay?
It's goodbye from them. Subscribe and turn the notification bell on because we will have 2 more podcasts of the Lance Stroll Fan Club up this weekend. So it's actually the fastest podcast up this weekend for Saturday and Sunday, quality review and race review. But we thank you very much for watching this episode and make sure you join us in the future. Thank you, everyone, and see you later.
Have a good one.